So I was about 9, maybe, when I started to watch it, you know.
Yeah.
But I used to go and stand outside my house, and our garbage men were the part of the South Sydney pack.
Oh, okay.
And I'd stand there and wait for these guys, you know, and I'd, recognise them off television, you know.
So they were in the team and they were doing the garbage?
Yeah. Jim Morgan, George Piggins, Paul Sate, I think, Gary Stevens. And I used to have pictures of them all over my wall, you know.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, you know, and my favourite player was a player called Dennis Pittard, and he was number 6. 5'8" for South Sydney in the 60s. Great player. And I had photos of him all over my wall. You know, I was doing an interview a few years ago with this rock and roll journo, and he said, gee, the bands you've been in, you know, you must have met some incredible people and, you know, travelled around. And I said, yeah, I guess. I said, I sat in a room with Mick Jagger, but I was much more nervous meeting Wally Lewis. And this guy looked at me, he was like, what? He's a footy player. I said, yeah. A few years ago, we did a thing for John Sattler. Oh, it's 15 years ago now. We did a gig for John Sattler up on the Gold Coast, and I think I don't know what he thought, but he took us out for dinner.
Yep.
And I was beside myself. I thought, this is going to be great, you know, and I think he must have thought, oh, you know, these guys, they're just rock and rollers, they don't, you know. And I said to him, I used to have photos of you all over my wall, and he kind of, what? And then he asked me to sign a CD for his son, Scott. And so I wrote down the whole of the 1970, I can't remember what year it was, 68 maybe, South Sydney side, down the side of the CD. He couldn't believe it.
He would have loved that.
Yeah, so he's a lovely guy, John Sattler. And he
tough, wasn't he?
Oh, mate. I asked him about that game, you know, he broke his jaw.
Yeah.
He said they wouldn't. He said the bad thing about it, none of his teammates would throw him the ball. Yeah, this is an Australian touring T-shirt from 1994, Kangaroos. Beautifully signed. It's a Michael Hancock training shirt.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, there's some classics on there.
Dean Pay.
Yeah, Alfie Langer.
Harrigan.
Steve Menzies.
Good.
Look at this.
80s.
Yeah, 89.
89, far out. Who was number 5 in 89? Oh, Hancock. Yeah, of course.
Wow, here's something.
Oh, how'd that get in there? Oh, how embarrassing. Oh, damn.
I'm a Queensland supporter, and I've got to say that I was at the game in Melbourne where you ran the whole field, scored that try, and I did, for a second, feel pretty good for you. Now, funny story about this. Great man.
Oh, what
Jace.
Absolute legend.
Lovely guy. Great bloke.
Yeah.
When the Hoodoo Gurus broke up in 1998 for a few years, we did our last show was down at the Icebergs. We had a party.
Oh, yeah.
And Jason came to the party, and Jason had had a few beverages by the end of the night. And
about 4 packets of smokes.
Yeah. And he came over, and I just got off stage and I had this shirt on. He said, give me your shirt. I said, what do you mean? He said, last Hoodoo Guru show, I want your shirt, I'll go and get it framed. And then I said, as a joke, I said, well, give me your Origin jumper.
Yeah.
He said, well, I've got an Origin jumper. I was man of the match Origin jumper. I'll give that to you. And his girlfriend's standing there going, Jason, shut up. But he did. I gave him a shirt.
What a
and then he
champ.
gave me this.